addicted to? And what did this world do to you? What will it take to get you through? And how long has this had a hold on you?
Hello, good afternoon. So welcome back to another edition of Addicted2. I've got with me my friend Rose.
Hi.
So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So basically, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on figuring out how you're doing. You are single. You have been sober for how long now?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And you have 3 kids.
3 kids. Yeah.
So I wanted to just talk a little bit about how that's going with dating, managing the kids, trying to keep it all together all by yourself.
Yeah. Some days are a struggle. Some are a breeze, just like any other in sobriety. You know, my kids are the reason why I got sober. You know, I wanted to be able to be there for them and be a good mom. And I feel like I'm achieving that goal.
Right on. So basically, I mean, I think it was the same for me. You have to do it for yourself, but when you have kids to think about, it definitely gives a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it was for me as well, just because I wanted to feel good as a person and feel good as a mother, you know. I wanted to be that mom who would go and pick up her kids from school every day and drop them off every day. And you can't do that when you're in addiction. So
No.
I have the opportunity to do that now, you know. So.
And then as far as dating goes, that makes it even more challenging because you have the sobriety to deal with.
Yeah.
And then you've got the kids on top.
Yep.
So how do you even find the time?
It's really difficult. Fortunately for me, I do have once every 2 weeks, I have a weekend kid free. So dating can incorporate with that. But it is also really hard to date somebody when you're only available once every 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, but I've found even for myself, and I'm a bit older than you are,
Yeah.
that, you know, everybody's got busy lives. So it's hard no matter what the circumstance is. But when you've got the kids, you've got schedules, you've got the soccer, you've got all the different deadlines.
Yeah.
It's pressure on time for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Do you find that the guys are open to being flexible on that, or it's a problem?
Honestly, I wasn't really looking to date for a while. I did meet somebody and we are dating now, and he's really flexible with my schedule. He's very understanding with my schedule.
And he has met the kids?
No.
He hasn't met the kids?
No, he hasn't met the kids. We set a clear boundary because we can only see each other once every 2 weeks. We don't want to move things too fast. Set a clear boundary that around October is going to be when he meets the kids. So he only gets to see me once every 2 weeks until then.
So just to put that in context, it is now April.
Yeah.
So you're given a bit of a runway there before anything takes place. Well, that's good.
Well, I mean, with my kids, my son's turning 8 and my daughter just turned 10. And then I have the baby who's just turned 1. But with the older kids, they understand everything. And I don't want anybody going in and out of their life. If somebody's going to be introduced into their life, I'd like to know that it's going to be for a long term, not just a quick fling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would imagine that's easier said than done. Trying to keep boundaries.
It is. It definitely is. Yeah.
So then I would imagine you communicate daily.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we still text. We text each other every day.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think you're lucky that this is all working out, because I wouldn't imagine that many. Like, I'm just looking from my point of view. If I'm in a relationship, and you have a business and different.
But in the general world of dating, when there isn't children involved and my schedule involved, generally you see somebody at least once a week, even if it's just to go out on a date or spend a night together. But I don't have that freedom. So luckily I found somebody who's understanding enough with my schedule.
Yeah, because, well, you're saying once a week, or usually maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Exactly, right? So, yeah. It's a lot and it's really hard because I do miss him. We get to see each other on Friday and we're going away for the weekend. So it'll be nice to spend all that time together because usually I'm trying to juggle seeing him and also seeing my own friends and my own family on top of that in a weekend. So he gets one night a week every 2 weeks of my time. Because on top of that, I'm still trying to maintain all of my other relationships and rebuild a lot of relationships since becoming sober because I lost a lot of my friendships when I got into alcohol and drugs really bad. And I gained new, I'm going to say this in quotation, friendships. And once I got sober, I lost those. And that left me with very select people. So now I'm trying to make sure that I keep them in my life no matter what, because they're the ones who have stuck around through everything.
It tends to happen that you have to find new friends. Family's usually always there, but yeah, there's the luggage of the wreckage of the past, as we used to say, right?
Yeah.
So for sure, I mean, it's just, I found it like you're really lucky to have found this guy, but before, like your journey for the 3 years wasn't all that smooth, right?
No, it definitely wasn't.
And how many, relationships did you go through, or did you just, abstain for the first year?
No, I did not at all.
I didn't make it through the first year either.
My sober date is January 7th. And I ended up meeting someone in like February or March. And we ended up together for 2 years. That's the baby's dad. And my schedule was a lot more open then. And I actually introduced him to the kids a lot sooner than I probably should have. I think I introduced him after 4 months. But I had a lot more flexibility in my schedule because my mom and I were living together. So I had the flexibility of being like, hey, can you watch the kids tonight? I'm going to go on a date. So there was
and you
a lot
didn't
more.
have the baby.
And I did not have the baby as well. So, but now I don't feel comfortable having anybody watch the kids for me to go on dates. I don't feel like it's anybody's responsibility to take care of them for me. I feel like I should be there for them, and whoever I'm dating can wait.
Yeah, I mean, good for you. That is a healthy boundary.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit hard to maneuver around.
It definitely is.
Because I was like you in my first year. I met a lady and I actually started a business, which were 2 huge life changes.
Yeah.
I still have the business, but I don't have the same lady. It's funny when you first clean up, they say, oh, don't worry, you'll be in a relationship or you'll be married. It just won't be the same person you're with now.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, there definitely is. And so when I got into that relationship, when I first got sober, he was also sober. So I think that kind of helped with my sobriety as well. The fact that he was sober or claimed to be, because I found later on that he was not completely sober.
Oh.
He was hiding an addiction from me. So that hit hard. Also, hence why we're not together anymore. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, people tend to do that. At least he didn't do things in front of you. But
exactly.
I mean, being lied to isn't the greatest feeling either, right?
No, it's not. And it's kind of funny because coming from the addiction side of me, I understand why he did it. Because when you're in addiction, you tell those lies. And you tell those, no, I'm not using,
Well, especially if there are people around you that are clean, you don't want to
you feel the
kind
guilt.
of destroy that, the trust factor. And, the demons are taking over, but they're telling you to try to keep it together, and maybe it'll just be this one time.
Yeah, this was the last time. It's the last time.
Yeah.
It's always the last time. And something that I learned in Smart Recovery, that's the recovery meetings I go to. Something I learned in there is that a lot of people feel the guilt and the shame associated with using. So after you use, you feel that guilt and that shame. So you try to cover it up with the lies.
Well, it's not even, for me, there's the guilt and the shame, but it's always like the next day when you wake up, you know, it's the irritability, the tiredness, and, you know, you're just generally miserable.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you look at your pocketbook and all the reality part hits.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I spent that much money. That was so stupid. But at the time, you know, you've got that driving force that's pushing you, saying, the hell with it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's going to stop you, right?
Yeah, nothing stops you. Once you have it in your mind that you're doing it, nothing really stops you. But
So in that Smart Recovery,
yeah.
just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Did they teach you any of these relationship boundaries, or is this something that's just outside of that?
The specific ones that I have for myself, they don't teach me about those, but they did teach us a lot about personal boundaries and setting your boundaries and figuring out what's important for you and making sure that your boundaries are met by people. And if they aren't met by people, how to react and how to cope with that and how to deal with it.
Really? So how do they walk you through all that? I know when you took me a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
they had put some cards on the table with some different cues on there, and then you were supposed to talk about, or you're supposed to spend the next week thinking about
The tool that they did with you, because that's what they call them. They call them tools. So one of the tools was set on boundaries, and you know, you set your boundary for somebody, like let's say, you know, my boundary with meeting the kids. So if he were trying to push that boundary, I could come back with him, and it's called when. So you start with when you, and then you go to I feel, and then you need to do this to respect my boundary. So if he were to push my boundary, I would say, you know, when you push this boundary, I feel too much pressure. You need to stop, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I was kind of picking up on that, and I want to go back there again because I did think that they are more based with coping.
Yeah. They work with, what was it? Cognitive behavioral thoughts or therapy. One of those ones.
And so just to
So it's training
this
your brain a little bit more.
It is, because, and then the last time when they put the cards out there, you know, it was really provoking, talking about different emotions.
Yeah.
And then the thought of the week was supposed to be how some of those cards that were jumping out at you, and you wrote them down on a piece of paper, and so you were supposed to take those for the week and really kind of think about those emotions and how they really pertain to you in your life and what really stands out, and maybe I would imagine things that you may not be dealing with or trying to push under the rug, as we tend to do.
Yeah.
So, but that Smart Recovery, just for our listeners who are in Calgary, so that's in Airdrie, is that a one-off, or is that, like, who started that? Do you know? Is that a national?
No.
type?
So yeah, it is all across Canada as far as I know. I'm not too sure about the States, but it is all across Canada. I know I'm not too sure if there's a meeting in Calgary anymore. I travel all the way from South Calgary up to Airdrie because Airdrie is where I started 3 years ago.
Right.
And those people are like my family now, right? So I don't want to switch locations. Yeah, there's a couple different groups. I know that they used to have Zoom. I'm not too sure if they're doing the Zoom meetings anymore.
And they've got the one downtown.
Oh, yes, there is that one downtown.
That's why
Yeah,
I was thinking about when I
Yeah,
left
because somebody
there.
mentioned that when we left.
Right.
Yeah.
But there seemed to be a lady who kind of ran things. Does she run things every week?
No, so they switched the facilitators. So right now, I believe we have 4 facilitators for our location, and they switch on and off on who facilitates the meeting.
Oh, okay. So it's
Yeah.
basically who's ever going to chair the meeting. And do they have a certain agenda or a topic that they're going to?
Generally, the facilitator will go in with a topic that they know that they want to talk about. Sometimes they just wing it, because there's been times where, everybody gets to share in Smart Recovery. So you go around and everybody gets to share about their week. And sometimes there's a lot of similarities. And then the facilitator will be like, well, I had a topic, but it has nothing to do with what we've talked about today. So why don't we work on this instead? Because it resonates with everybody more.
Plus, the thing I liked about it was it really is a lot more inclusive, because it isn't just about drugs or alcohol. No. Anybody can attend.
Anybody can attend any addiction. There has been everything from gambling addictions all the way up to, hard drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are really, I just find that it's a way different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it is more inclusive is pretty cool too, because it's not really leaving anybody out, right?
Yeah.
I was surprised that there wasn't, you didn't need a bigger room.
Well, we're hoping to expand it a little bit more. They're always welcoming new people. So if anybody wants to check it out, it's a good place.
Yeah, I'll definitely be going back there again. So just getting back to, how it pertains to you, how did you even find out about that?
So I actually had, when I was heavy into my addiction, I had ended up in the psych ward because I had a mental breakdown as well while I was drunk and high. So I ended up there, and they referred me to a therapist, and the therapist told me that I needed to get clean and sober before she could overly help me because I was too far into my addiction. And she referred me to a addictions counselor in Airdrie. And that addictions counselor told me about Smart Recovery, and that's when I started going to Smart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I started going to Smart Recovery in September, and I got fully sober on January 7th.
Because while you were starting, that's another kind of difference there, is they kind of accept you.
Yeah, they're not abstinence based. So if you want to go into Smart Recovery, you can go in and just say, look, I'm looking to cut down my consumption. And they'll still accept you the same way they would if you were to say, hey, I'm trying to quit. Ideally, they would like, especially if it's harder drugs, they would like to see you fully quit. But they were very accepting with me. And I don't know if I would have gotten sober without their help, because I didn't go to any rehab facilities. I just did it on my own.
Same as me. I couldn't. And the reason I couldn't was because probably the same reasons you. I had a mortgage and I had child support payments.
Yeah.
I just couldn't take a month or 2 or 3 months to go check out and go do me,
exactly.
And then come out. And I've always found, and it's hard for me to say because I've never been to rehab. I've heard some people had great success there. But I have found that some people go in and they do well in there.
Mm-hmm.
But when they come out, they're so lost. They don't know how to reconnect. They go to a couple of meetings, but they're kind of scared. They don't know anybody. They're on their own again. They're trying to manage family, trying to figure out how to get a job and whatever. It all seems way too overwhelming. And they seem to, it seems to be of a high failure rate.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of that feedback as well. But there's a lot of people who go to Smart Recovery as well that did go to facilities to get sober or clean. And
they're referred.
Yeah, and they're referred. There's actually, I don't know exactly what rehabilitation center has Smart Recovery, but there is one that does have Smart Recovery in their
if they know that you're still active in your addiction, mm-hmm. they don't shy away from it. I would imagine, again, they discourage you from being under the influence at a meeting, or is that okay?
If you are under the influence, you can attend a meeting, but they do ask you not to speak. So when it comes to everybody sharing about their week, all you have to say is pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They do discourage you from speaking if you're under the influence, but you're still more than welcome to come in and attend the meeting and listen in on it, because even if you're under the influence, hopefully you soak some of it up and go home with some knowledge. And
Yeah. See, I mean, it's a very different approach because they're not saying, you're not welcome here,
yeah.
which is, a way different take on things. And then if they know that you are, they're still giving you a place to come, a place to talk to people, get to know them, feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then the seeds are getting planted.
Yeah. And, when I started going to Smart Recovery, about, a month into me going, I started to lessen my consumption of my drugs and alcohol.
All on your own?
All on my own. So I would go in and each week I would share, because I would be sober when I went to the meetings. So I would share, I'm like, hey, guess what? I passed on a drink. I passed on 2 drinks. Hey, I passed on my round of a drug of choice. I don't want to.
No, it's fine. That's fine.
Or, hey, I did a smaller amount of my drug of choice. And they congratulated me on it. And they made me feel good about those small wins rather than discouraging me and being like, well, you're still using, so you should be ashamed of yourself. Instead, they're like, hey, take that as a win. That's a really good thing that you're able to lessen your consumption on your own.
Well, it is.
And eventually, every time I went there and I was, I got more encouraged by them, eventually it just led to sobriety.
Yeah, because they're not shaming or blaming, right?
Yeah.
Which is a huge...
And every single week I went in there for almost the entire month of December. Every week I went in there, I was like, yeah, this was my last time. This was my last time using. Next time I come in here, I'm going to say that I was sober. It didn't happen. I kept on going back being like, oh, I messed up again. I used again. But then at the same time, since they were so encouraging with everything and I took so much from the meetings, I still was able to say, but I used less. Or, the one time I went in and I was like, I only drank this time. I didn't use my drug of choice. And that was a big win for me.
So did you find when you were going there weekly and you started to get to know the people that you were kind of, I guess, being held to a little bit of a standard and you didn't want to let them down? So you were kind of started to strive to be sober?
Yep, because I didn't want to walk into that. It was really hard walking into that meeting every week and telling them like, oh, I messed up again. Oh, I messed up again. It was really hard to face them. And I knew I would have to face them and tell them, because it's a place in Smart Recovery, like everybody's like a very non-judgmental family. You can go in them and tell them the worst thing that you've done and everybody would just still welcome you. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about the meeting. And I think that's one of the reasons why I kept on going back and telling them every time I messed up on the weekend.
And it's a huge departure because most, if I was in your shoes and I used, I would not go. Because I'd be like, well, I'm not going to face those people, so the hell with it, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Right? Problem solved. Because, the best thing I ever did was just avoid things.
Yep.
Because, if it's uncomfortable or, there's going to be a situation or a scene or accountability, well, I don't want any part of that. So I'll just avoid the whole thing and stay home and probably, get all messed up again and forget all about it, right? But you kept going back. So there must have been, a connection with the people. There must have been a connection. The seed was growing. And then the fact that they didn't shame you was leading you to be
for me.
Comfortable.
Yeah, that was huge for me, the fact that they didn't shame me. And I remember there was one person there, and after the meeting, because every time I spoke there and I had to say, I used again, I was, my head was down, my voice was lower, I was kind of mumbling, I didn't want to say it. And he came up to me and he said, I know it's really hard for you to walk through those doors every week. He's like, but just so you know, we're happy you keep coming back. He's like, we are not getting tired of hearing you say every week that you've messed up again. He's like, because we're proud of your little achievements that you're making.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. And he said, I want to keep seeing you come back. And he's like, one day you're going to come through those doors and you're going to say, I've been sober. That's always stuck with me. Even now, 3 years later, it still has stuck with me. Yeah.
Well, I remember, and I won't really say the name of the lady, but she's a friend of mine. And, she came back and she was embarrassed. And I kind of said the same thing. I said, you know what? We're not here to judge you. We're here to support you. Mm-hmm. So you come back and you try it again. Because if you don't, you'll end up dead.
Yeah.
That's where we're all going. Ultimately, they say jails, institutions, and death, but really the holy grail of this whole thing is dead. Mm-hmm. That's, you're going to run yourself into the ground. And I'm trying to do this podcast as more of an observation. I'm not down with any one certain way because I don't think there is one size fits all.
No. I mean, some people swear by, certain methods and others swear by others. And you just have to find the right fit for you.
Yeah. But
I have tried the AA meetings and the NA meetings. I found they weren't my perfect fit, but what I did enjoy from them was getting the little AA chips and then the little NA key tags, because I would see those. And that was a good reminder for me to stay sober, especially the key tags, because I drive every day.
Yeah, well, I've got to admit, I did get a fob just a little while ago in the spirit of going, because I used to do the NA meetings quite a bit when I was in Vancouver. But I've got that on my keychain and it's really cool. I just wanted to say that going back to it, I've found some people that have even gone to the church. Mm-hmm. And that's not really my cup of tea, but whatever floats your boat, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be your kids or your driving force, whatever's driving you there. And then if you find that works instead of a 12-step program, then whatever, what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of people that have a certain tunnel vision. And I've seen a couple of different stances on it. Some people say, we tried to find a softer, easier way, but we could not. So it's more of a stern and strict. Well, not everybody will really respond to that.
Yeah.
Some people do need a softer touch. They've gone through a lot of trauma. I can't even believe, I've got another friend of mine who lived on the street. I've never been on the street, but I can imagine she's a pretty rough go.
Yeah.
Right? And trying to really put on huge boundaries on someone like that's used to total freedom to do whatever they want isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I was really interested in this. Plus the real factor for me is the fact that you don't turn anybody away. You can have, any affliction, which, let's face it, in this world, you've got a mixed bag.
Yes, you definitely do.
And people that have one addiction tend to have multiple. I know I do.
Yep.
So, it's just a gift that you can come on here and share it with me. You brought me to that room, and I'd be happy to go back again. They were really great people. I liked the premise of it, and I didn't do my homework, I'll be honest.
About the tools that they do anymore, because I've gone through the whole handbook already.
Oh, and then they repeat?
And then, everything kind of repeats. But sometimes it's really good I only go in there once a month because that's when I have childcare. Like I said before, I don't like having to get a babysitter for my kids, but my sobriety is important. So once a month, I get my mom to watch the kids so that I can go to a meeting. It's not so much for the tool as much as it is for just that refresher of talking to everybody and connecting with everybody again and being able to walk in there and share, any ups and downs that I've had or any, little thoughts. Meeting my boyfriend's best friend in Edmonton this weekend, and I'm meeting his mother. And the first thing that came to my mind when it came to meeting those people is, oh man, I wish I could do a shot before I met them.
Just to take the edge off.
Just to take that edge off. That was my first immediate thought is, I wish I could do a shot. And so I went into the meeting and I spoke about that. And they're like, play that tape forward. Is it going to be one shot? And I'm like, no, of course it's not. You're going to have one, think it was, it was great. And it's going to turn into a bottle. And then it's going to turn into trying to call a friend to get drugs. And, they put you in that reality of, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be.
And then you'd be a mess.
And then you would be a mess.
And then you would embarrass yourself
Yeah.
and him, and it wouldn't go well.
No.
So no matter how bad it is sober, it's probably never even 20% as bad as we think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we tend to build things up in our mind that it's going to be, it's going to be this thing. And then you go there and you go, wow, the people were great and everything was fantastic. And, she made good cake.
Yeah. So, I do have a little bit of anxiety around that, but I'm probably, like you said, building it up in my head to be so much worse than it's actually going to be. And now, I know that when we get back from the trip, I can go into Smart and tell everybody, hey, guess what? It wasn't as bad as I thought. And I did great without doing a shot. So
there you go. Okay. Well, I think we're out of time on this one. So I think we'll wrap it up and we'll bid everybody a good day. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thank you.